Hello and welcome to Judging by the Cover. Today we are looking at Cronos the New Dawn. Now, I had initially seen this come onto my radar via a Nintendo Direct video. I want to say about a month ago, but due to other things that were coming out, I had to go ahead and delay looking at this. And when I saw this on the Direct, I looked at it and I'm like, okay, it doesn't look like the kind of game that I would play personally. I don't do a lot of horror, like the live or the action oriented stuff. I usually prefer a more chill game aspect, but looking at this, I thought, and when I saw the trailer, I thought it had some interesting atmosphere and motif to it that made it worth looking at least from the narrative and artistic perspective. Now, I am pulling it up on the Nintendo Switch here, which honestly, the Nintendo Switch page or the Nintendo Switch eShop information, I feel like falls short here. I did look at this on Steam, where not only does the game have multiple trailers and a fair amount of video footage to go through to kind of like see what you're getting into, but it also has a lot of bundles on Steam where it's packaged with other games, like apparently 2016's Layers of Fear, 2021's The Medium, or the Observer System box or Observer System Redux Chronos bundle. What's that one? Oh, 2020 Observer System Redux. So you can get it bundled with one of like three other games on Steam to I don't know, maybe save a couple of bucks there. But Bloober Team does seem to have put a lot of intent and design into this. So without too much, we are going to go ahead and take a brief look at the screenshots. And like I said, the Switch page does fall short here, which makes it a little bit harder to sell on the Switch eShop page. I feel like if they had just included one single trailer showing some gameplay footage, that would have been good for the eShop page. Now, like I said, I did see this initially on a direct, so I did see a snippet of footage before this review, before even looking at the Steam page to alert me like, hey, this looks like a cool thing. But if you didn't see that direct, if this store page is your first exposure to the game, I could understand if it wasn't quite your thing. We do have our little title card here. The character's design is fully covered in what looks like some kind of action hazmat suit of sorts with a helmet. From I'm guessing you got your air pack, your ventilation, and everything, because you're dealing with a post-apocalyptic wasteland where you need to be well protected against not only whatever atmospheric elements are going on, but from the monstrosities that now inhabit that wasteland. We do see here there's facilities. Looks like this is probably whatever ship or craft that our protagonist might have traveled in. And this is just my best guess from the screenshot. We get a little more detail if we see trailers, which again, the Switch would really benefit from including at least one trailer here. Uh, I do see we got all kinds of environments going on, from, ruined cityscapes to what looks to be, some kind of station, some kind of a station of sorts. We have more apocalyptic imagery with our protagonist in front of some kind of heated obelisk. I don't know. It doesn't. These screenshots don't convey a whole lot other than the apocalyptic atmosphere that we're looking at. Now, like I said, the Steam page has trailers that show a lot more than this, and those trailers really do a number in showing you what you're getting into. So, without too much, I'm going to go ahead and look at this. Survive the future, salvage the past. Chronos: The New Dawn is a brutal third-person survival horror where you fight for the future by salvaging the past. Burn monsters before they merge and extract souls from the living, adapt or die. So living things, or things that are left, I guess you deal with going to the past, absorbing souls to bring back with you so that they're not stranded back there, I guess. And yeah, a lot of adapting to situations. The thing that really gets me is that the trailers and the marketing seems to really home in on this: do not let them merge. That's like a big selling point in like more than half the trailer footage that they showcased it on the Steam page was don't let them merge. Survive the future, salvage the past. Set in a grim world where Eastern European brutalism meets retro futurist technology, Cronos the New Dawn lets you experience a gripping story that straddles the line between past and future. In the past, you will witness a world in the throes of the Change, a cataclysmic event that forever altered humanity. Meanwhile, the ravaged wastelands of the future in the wastelands of the future, every moment is a fight for survival against dangerous abominations that will test both your reflexes and your tactical thinking. You are a traveler working for the enigmatic collective tasked with scouring the wasteland of the future in search of time rifts that transport you back to the 1980s era Poland. So there's an interesting motif there. So apparently, it's telling us here something happened in 1980 Europe that started some kind of cataclysmic thing going on where I guess people were mutating into monsters, and now there are time rifts connecting the future and the present that allow you to go back and kind of investigate and see what you can bring back with you. In a desolate world filled with ever present danger, your survival hinges on your ability to strategize and plan ahead. The enemies you'll encounter and nightmarish creatures born from the remnants of humanity, defeating them will require you to make full use of your arsenal. You can manipulate temporal anomalies to clear a path through the desolate environment, and will have to scavenge for resources to replenish your limited ammo and supplies. Good preparation is key. Once in battle, split second decisions can mean the difference between life and death. And of course, like says in the trailer repeatedly, don't let them merge. The creatures you kill won't stay dead for long. Fallen enemies can be absorbed by others through grotesque process called merging to become faster, tougher, and far deadlier. So it's kind of like the that Superman villain Doomsday, where every time you take him down, he comes back stronger, like more resilient to whatever method you had taken him down the first time. The only way to stop them, burn their bodies and do it fast. If you don't, you'll face ever evolving abominations that will push your combat skills to their limits. Now, I kind of see this in the marketing as a double-edged sword. For one, you this is a selling point of the game for a unique mechanic to dealing with your enemies and combat in the game. However, by putting it in the marketing, you're also broadcasting to people, hey, this is how to not have a bad time. At which point it's like I almost feel like if they didn't announce it in the marketing and made it where you had to discover it in game naturally and figure out this whole how to stop monsters from merging, that could have been interesting. But then if you don't include it in the marketing, it's that double-edged sword where if they don't mention it, it's like, well, now people don't know about it, so they don't know going in. Like this is a selling point of the game's mechanics, but I feel like it would be more impactful if it were a surprise. But then again, there's only when it comes to gameplay and stuff, there's only so much you can leave up to surprise, I guess, when it comes to marketing and selling your game. Harvester of Souls, your mission is to locate key people from the past who perished in the ensuing apocalypse. Using your all powerful harvester, you can extract their essences and have them accompany you into the future. But be wary, these essences have a profound impact on your journey. The more you carry, the more haunted your suit becomes, increasing your prowess on the battlefield, but also bringing with them whispers in your ear and flickers into your vision, edging you ever closer to madness. So that right there is another interesting little mechanic here where yes, your task is to go back, find prominent figures from the past to go ahead, I guess, preserve their souls, preserve their memory. If maybe it's something with the collective weaponizing them. If it increases your battle prowess, it's probably something along the lines of how uh what was it like if you harvest or save the little sisters in BioShock, that's how you get like charged to go ahead and power up your character and gain abilities in that way. So it's probably something along those lines where it's the game's experience point mechanism, but at the same time it also backfires on you depending on how many you have. I guess maybe how many you're carrying at a time. If there's some kind of pick up and drop off kind of situation, or pick up and keep them on you before, so you can drop off more at a time, and how that goes. We do see in the trailers there are multiple shots of the or at least repeated shot of our protagonist traveler falling to their knees. I don't know if it's in the midst of combat or just one of those moments of maybe collective trauma from their soul harvesting where it's psychologically affecting them, or if maybe and getting enough souls can blur the lines between psychosis and reality, so that you end up in a fight but you can't tell which enemy is the real monster and which one is just your mind playing tricks on you, or if your hallucinations can actually physically harm you or something. So it doesn't tell us here, but these are just little speculations, like imagining directions that they could go with this. Overall, it's a cool game. It's a cool idea. I don't know how long the game is. They don't really tell us about how long to expect. So a $60 price tag on something like this. Now, visually, it's gorgeous. I dig the atmosphere, the art direction of it. I know I have been on recording and on written form before saying that I don't really care about graphics. Something can be very stylized, very cartoony, or even just pixel art if it does its job well and if it's fun. But a game like this, they really home in the graphics being a part of the atmosphere, but it being a $60 game with me not knowing how much time I'd put into it, I'm like, I'm very hesitant to buy this. If I were to pick up something like this, I would probably go and play it at least to try it as the premise. But for $60, I can't go and spend that on trying this, as a consumer. And that's what I'm looking at this is judging this game by its cover, by what we see on the store page and even the Steam page. If you look at both, like I said, the Steam page does show trailers that show the gameplay in motion. It shows some of the cinematic. And it's those trailers that really sell the game. Now, I would still wait for a sale of I feel like I would wait for at least 50% off if I found myself in a situation where it's like, you know what? I would like to actually sit down and take the time to go through this whole game. Otherwise, as a consumer myself with limited time, limited aspect on or limited attention that I could devote to this with other projects, job, family and all that to work with, I would wait for a huge sale. I've seen sometimes games go on sale for 80 to 90% off. And it's like, okay, a game like a $60 game like this that I would otherwise not look at just because of the price, on a big sale like that, I would actually go and give that, like, buy it at that rate so that I could at least try it and then decide, like, oh, wow, yeah, this is really good. I would recommend this wholeheartedly to other people depending on that experience. But on the Steam store page, like I said, the lack of trailers makes it a much harder sell. I am going to give the Steam store page a 4 out of 10 on my rating for judging by the cover. Not a criticism to the game itself. Like I said, the game looks gorgeous. That's why it's as high as it is. Now, like I said, it's not awful, but a $60 price tag and no trailer on the Steam store or on the Switch store page, those are big points off, because this page here is supposed to tell me what I want to know if I'm going to want to buy the game, but not seeing the motion, not seeing the cinematic. It's like that $60 is hard to sell. Now, the game in general, when I'm looking at Steam, on the other hand, like I said, the trailers look great. Check it out on Steam. Look up the trailers on YouTube for Cronos: The New Dawn. It does look good. The sound design is nice. The voices are all like gravelly and a little mechanical. I don't think the characters are machines, but their sound direction really leaned into the fact that this person, like our character, is in this this hazard suit, so that they don't seem to take off at all during the game, or if they do, they wait until they get to safe locations. It's it's the kind of thing where the sound, the music, the sound, the ambience, and the character voices, it sounds like they really stuck to the setting. And the trailers, like I said, the trailers are the thing that sell that setting and sell the atmosphere. The screenshots and the visuals can only do so much in that respect. The game as a total, I am rating 7 out of 10. It's just the Switch store page at a 4 out of 10 that I have to go ahead and take points off just because of that. And I know my numbering system might be a little arbitrary. Maybe it is, but then again, rating systems I feel like are usually arbitrary. Like I said, 7 out of 10 if you're looking at it on Steam. The store page on the Switch is a 4. But that's not necessarily an indicator of no, I think this game is garbage. If I thought the game was garbage, then I would rate it a 1. It's just the price tag and the lack of trailers on the Switch is very hard to sell to me. If anybody else out there has different experiences, different thoughts, by all means, leave a comment down below. I do like to see other people's perspectives. If people have gone and played this, let me know your experiences. I would like I said, at the atmosphere, the setting, the story, and the way that it looks like they want the story to unfold through the gameplay looks incredible. It's just a very hard sell from what I'm seeing, and based on how much time I could personally put into it, the $60 is a really hard price tag for me to go for that. But overall, not Blooper, Bloober Team. Oh, I love the name, by the way. Bloober Team. They looks like they put together a solid game. I hope that it runs well on every platform that it's on because its looks. Oh, apparently, the games that are bundled with it, the medium and stuff, that's also theirs. So yeah, that's cool. So that explains the bundles, how you can get this bundled with one of many of other Bloober Team's games. So maybe Steam is the way to go. But again, if the Switch being handheld, like being able to do handheld or TV play, is also a great little balance there. Although I feel like on a big screen in a dark room, when you have a storm raging outside your windows, like if you got a rainstorm going on or something, that's probably the best atmosphere to play something like this. Again, let me know your thoughts out there in the comments. I would like to see some other perspectives. My thoughts are in no way the be all end all. Like I said, I don't normally play games like this, but if a game like this were to go on a nice big sale, this, from what I have seen on the Steam trailers and from the description, it is something I would give a shot.